Okay, so let's get right into it. A massive political story is blowing up right now, and it's got everything: a surprise witness, explosive allegations, you name it. But what if I told you that, according to our sources, we might have seen this exact same playbook before? Like over 20 years ago. Today, we are looking at a 2025 bombshell, and it's seriously eerie parallel from back in 2003.
And it all kicks off with this quote. I mean, wow. It's a dramatic accusation dropped in a Senate hearing, taking direct aim at one of the country's most powerful political figures, former Speaker Martin Romualdez. This one sentence was basically the spark that lit the fuse on a massive political firestorm. So here's the scene, right? You've got a formal Senate blue ribbon committee hearing. Everything's proceeding as normal, and then bam! A new witness is brought out, and their testimony just sends shockwaves through the entire political world. I mean, these are the classic ingredients for a huge political spectacle.
So, first things first, let's really unpack the events of 2025 that have everybody talking. What exactly is this accusation all about, and who are the main people involved in this whole drama?
Here's your cast of characters. The man in the hot seat is former Speaker Martin Romualdez. The witness making the claim is a guy named Orly Guteza, and he was brought to the hearing by Representative Rodante Marcoleta. But behind the scenes, sources are alleging that a man named Mike Defensor was the broker, the one who brought the witness forward. Now remember that name, it's going to be important.
Now, as the story was breaking, a lot of political observers started getting this weird sense of déjà vu. Something about the way this witness was presented, the whole vibe of the hearing, it all felt familiar, and that led them to ask a really important question. Is this just a one-off thing, a totally unique event, or are we just watching a rerun of an old political script? This is the central question our sources are raising, and to find the answer, we have to look back in time. Now, to get what's going on here, you need to understand this key role: the witness handler. This isn't just someone offering advice. According to sources, this is a political operative who essentially controls a witness's story. They can either use it to shut down a scandal or to aim it like a weapon at a political enemy. It's a really powerful behind-the-scenes job. And this is where it all clicks into place. When you look for that common thread, that link between the scandal today and the one back then, sources say one name keeps popping up as the alleged handler in both situations: Mike Defensor.
So let's hit rewind. To really understand this comparison, we've got to jump in a time machine and go all the way back to 2003, to a massive political controversy that had the entire country glued to their screens, the Jose Padal scandal.
So here's how that went down. A witness, Udong Mahuse, was about to drop a bombshell about bank accounts supposedly linked to the Arroyo administration. But just before he could, Mike Defensor steps in, presenting himself as Mahuse's protector or rescuer. He brings Mahuse into the government's fold, and what happens next? Well, just a few days later, the witness's explosive testimony completely falls apart. The whole scandal just fizzled out. And this is where the parallels our sources are pointing to become crystal clear. I mean, just look at this, side by side. In 2003, the target was the Arroyo administration. In 2025, it's former Speaker Romualdez. You've got a key witness in each case. And right there in the middle, as the alleged handler, you see the same name, Mike Defensor. And look at the outcome. In both situations, the witness's testimony either completely collapsed or was immediately called out as being extremely shaky. The pattern is pretty hard to ignore. Okay, so that brings us back to 2025. How did the accused respond to all this? Well, faced with these explosive claims and the historical parallels being drawn, former Speaker Romualdez and his team, they did not stay quiet. They came out swinging with a really swift and detailed defense. His denial was, well, absolute. He called the testimony an outright and complete fabrication. And he used that Filipino phrase, pilit na pilit. It basically means something feels really forced, totally contrived, almost unnatural. He was making it crystal clear that he saw this as nothing more than a politically motivated attack. And he backed it up with some hard facts. His camp said the witness's claim about these deliveries was simply impossible. Why? Because the house where this all supposedly happened had been empty and under a massive renovation for nearly a year. They argued this one single verifiable lie triggers a legal principle: falsus in uno, falsus in omnibus. It's a fancy way of saying false in one thing, false in everything. If you can prove a witness lied about a key detail, how can you trust anything else they say? And then, in a pretty huge move, Romualdez voluntarily resigned as Speaker of the House. He said he was doing it to show he fully supported the investigation and wanted to face the allegations without the massive power of his office getting in the way. So you have this shocking accusation, you have this historical precedent that looks really similar, and you have a furious denial that seems to be backed by some serious evidence. And all of this pushes the controversy into a much bigger and honestly more troubling territory. And that gets us to the fundamental question this whole thing raises, right? Is the point of hearings like this to actually find the truth and root out corruption? Or have they just become a stage for political theater designed to do one thing: destroy an opponent's reputation? And this is why it matters, way beyond the specific people involved. According to sources, this kind of playbook carries huge risks for our institutions. It eats away at public trust in bodies like the Senate. It turns what should be serious hearings into, as critics call them, political stage shows. And maybe the most dangerous part? It wastes taxpayer money and valuable time on what might just be scripted drama, while real, actual corruption gets buried and ignored. Which leaves us with this final, critical question to think about. If our public inquiries are just reduced to theater, designed for political hits and entertainment, what vital truths and real problems are we not seeing? What gets lost and maybe even buried forever under all that drama?